Hey everybody, John Felt here, and this is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing. You know, we have had a winter storm now for actually several winter storms each week for the last 3 weeks now. And this week it looks like we're going to have another one, and this one's going to bring some snow to areas that haven't had much snow so far this winter season. Now last week, if you're in Nebraska, you know what I'm saying here. You really got clobbered with a lot of snow. 6 inches to as much as 2 feet in a few spots right in the central part of the state. And that band of heavy snow extended right up here into Minneapolis area, so right in here. So very heavy snow. Now what's on the ground? Well, this is what's on the ground, and you can see here that we do have a very significant snow cover in these darker shades of blue. That's 10 inches or more of snow on the ground. And this is close to the coldest time of year, so I wouldn't expect that to really melt much. It's just going to sit there for a while, and it's always on my mind what that means for later in the spring. So right now, if we take a look at the weather map, what we have is a system skirting the southeast U.S., and that's bringing a lot of rain over the southeast, especially Georgia. Pretty quiet elsewhere. Now last week, what we had was more rain. This is that system that's moving across the southeast. So that was really the action spot last week, the southeast. This was our band of snow. And then the western U.S., we started off the week with a continued atmospheric river, several inches of rain along the coast, high amounts of snow in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Good news is that has quieted down, and we don't expect nearly as much this week. So rivers are running high where we had the recent atmospheric rivers across California. Rivers are running high in the southeast where we've had numerous wet weather systems. And also the northeast is also running very high river flows. Now over the last week, a good part of the nation experienced above normal temperatures. Temperatures averaged quite significantly above normal in the north central U.S., but coldest time of year, I still didn't see a whole lot of snow melt in those regions. Now I've showed this plot for the last couple weeks now, and I think it sort of gives us the big picture. It's the polar vortex, the wind strength, and what you can see here is areas in blue. This is the current time right here, and it goes through mid-February, mid to late February. So what we have had is we've had this blue shade, and that means strong polar vortex. That means that it keeps the coldest air confined to the Arctic. We're getting in where we're going to have a weaker polar vortex, these bright colors. What does that mean? Well, that means we're going to be more vulnerable to that cold air sort of escaping that Arctic region and sinking to the south. So we take a look at models. We can see the systems this week lined up. By midweek, here's the system that is going to produce quite a bit of weather across the nation. And behind it here, this is sort of interesting. Look how strong this jet stream is here. And at the same time, here's that polar vortex sinking south. So I think what we're going to have here is we're going to have some unusually cold air sinking south. But at some point, this is going to sort of, act as maybe a barrier to getting too far south. So we'll see how that works out. Next 5 days, here we go. We're sort of setting the stage. And the last week, it's really interesting that, remember that recurring cycle theory I talked about from time to time? 6 weeks ago, it said last week in January we'd be prone towards another cold spell. It's right on track. So let's look maybe another 6 to 8 weeks from now and see what happens again. Okay, so here's the setup for this week. First system is passing through at the current time right here. And then here's the main story this week, gathering in the Rockies, moving up out of the southwest. This is a panhandle hook type system, and it's coming right through here, and it's going to be a messy week for some parts of the nation. So take a look at California as far as rain this week. It looks pretty good. We're going to have a break in most of the West Coast. South central U.S., some wet weather, 1 to 3 inches of rain. But I think the big story is going to be this stripe of heavy rain or heavy snow. This could be anywhere from 3 to 8 inches of snow in this stripe right here. And we will see. It might be a little, this is still in the middle of the week, so it might be a little bit north, might be a little bit south, might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. But models have been consistent in this stripe of snow, and these are areas that have not had much snow so far this season. Okay, so here's the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14, and like I showed you on that jet stream, see how that's sort of acting as a barrier? That really cold air is settling over the northern part of the U.S. and parts of the west, but that maybe is going to hold it a bit away from the southeast, not letting it slide all the way across the nation. And there's our precipitation down here. You can sort of see this is sort of looks like a La Nina type pattern. And maybe in week 2 we get a little bit more action on the west coast. That's this week's weather briefing. Hope you have a great week. It looks like some spots are going to be turning quite cold. At some spots snowy. It is January. Take care.